It's dawn. I mean, it's dawning. It's on its way. So, but uh, getting up, getting the day started. It's a lot going on. A lot going on. Too much going on. I mean, this administration got everybody in their feelings. Got us feeling some certain kind of way about gang members. Like, come on. Yeah, they gang members. You know, I wouldn't want my son to be a gang member or daughter to be a gang member. I would not want to live in a gang infested neighborhood. But I don't know. The only time I hear about M13 or any kind of gang is when politicians are trying to get elected. And this one trying to make a statement. I get so tired of listening to these people talk about people like they're not human. We should be in the business of trying to help people live a better life. Because, no, you could throw them out of this country, but you still have a manufactured gangs, murderers, rapists right here. He wants to call them homegrown. Oh, boy. But people, why? I want to ask this question. Why have we still acting like you, we did in the 1500s? And, you know, 1500s was really bad. It was really bad. I mean, uh, heads chopped off, people burnt at the stake. Why? Why are we letting these people, and it's basically the Caucasian people, Europeans, that have this lust for blood? How do you sit there and look at somebody get their head cut off? How do you sit there, stand there, and see somebody get hung or burnt alive? What kind of brain cells do you have to think that it's okay to send young people in chains to a place with no due process? How do you do that? And people agree with it because I hear the comments. I read the comments, and they say he's doing a good job. No, no, you're not doing a good job. But that is not for us to say because it's done and over with. What we need to be concentrating on is, um, uh, if yeah, if I can move, I would move, and I'm planning on it. I'm planning on. If I can't, I can't. But I'm planning on it, and I believe in miracles because it's going too much from. It's going too far. I mean, now we having all this AI. Now we having all these robots and uh, I know. No, I'm 65 years old, and I'm not ready for that. That is not how I want to live my days. I really don't. And my main concern is our babies, our children. Just like my grandson, uh, I gave him some orange juice in a jar. He wouldn't drink it. I said, why you not drinking that juice? It's in a jar. I'm like, you better drink that juice. I didn't argue with him. He still didn't drink it. So I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to tell his mother, you need to get that child in order. You better start making him drink out of a jar. And I'm gonna tell you bet I'm gonna tell him one of these days. I'm gonna tell him you better get you a girlfriend or a wife that drinks out of a jar because you done lost your roots. Because believe me, your roots are drinking out of a mason jar. I knew if your woman can't drink out of a mason jar, she done lost her roots. And you don't want somebody who done lost their roots because if they done lost their roots, they don't know who they are. And people that don't know who they are lost. And a lost person is hard to communicate with because that's who you are. You can't lose sight of who you are. You can improve, you can become new. Because I had somebody tell me one time, don't act brand new. Yes, I am acting brand new. Yes, I am. I'm trying to tell it. I'm trying, and I wish a lot of us older ones would start talking to these young ones, cause they don't know family value has been slipping away since I was a kid, and I see where it's headed. I'm telling you, and if we don't do something now, we're gonna keep having these issues. We're gonna keep raising uh, black Trump supporters. I had to bring that up because uh, I know one thing. If my daughter or son came home with a Trump supporter, I would have to, tell them no, nah, mm-mm. She not allowed in my house. He ain't allowed in my house. He's dangerous. Dangerous. And I tell you a little bit about getting back to what I was saying. We're gonna have to start worrying about the future, because I know it's a lot of stuff going on right now, but that's a continuation of what's been going on. Because a lot of people already knew, but a lot of people act stupid. But they've been watching us. They've been listening to us. They've been hearing us. And they have been devising a plan to get us back in that field. And that J.D. Vance let it slip out. He want peasants. He want a world where people were peasants. And they think they can achieve it. They've been trying for a long time. They not coming up with all these robots and remote controls and AI and all this stuff. Because they want us to stop using our brain. Because they don't like where it's going. They don't like the way that people's talking about them and put them down. They too rich. They too, ghetto fabulous to be talked about like that. You know, and it's so stupid how these people talk about black folks. they can't do this and can't. They've been doing stuff for centuries. And when I heard them talking about they don't want a black air pilot flying them, I'm like, who you think flying them planes over there in Africa? Who you think running African countries? They want to be blind. Well, see, we're not blind, and we're not going to be blind, and we're not going to let them blind us. And I remember, you know, when I was saying that I'm brand new, yes, because I don't even like looking at slavery movies no more. I don't even like looking at documentaries or shows where black people first come out talking about, yeah, we couldn't do this, and yeah, we had to fight all our lives. We didn't have rights. You know what? Maybe other people want to hear that, but I don't. And the difference between looking at a black documentary and a white people's documentary is you don't have all that sad, uh, my rights was trampled on. Now this is a Jewish person or something like that. I'm tired of hearing about it. And I can't stand those movies, those old movies that like it was just written out of a news article. Today's news. That's what it's most of these movies is like. I ain't got time for it. I still say to this day, they didn't have to make another slavery movie after Roots. Roots in the next generation just that should have been it. Another black person should have never played a slave ever again. I know I looked at this one show, this one channel. It was like early in the morning, and it was a slave show, slave movie, or documentary or something. It was a marathon. And I'm like, you know what? Who looking at that? Them old ass racist white people reliving the good old days. They still playing the birth of a nation. I'm telling you. And of course, we just had another mass shooting in Florida at a school. It's a shame we have not evolved more than the 1500s. Why are we still killing each other? Why we haven't evolved into better people and treat each other better, more genuine. Yeah, it's. I was reading something the other day, um, and it was. Um, yeah, yeah. Kids are expensive, and and they do spoil their kids, and they're letting the schools teach them too much of nothing. I asked my grandson, have he had a spelling test? He said he have not had one spelling test this year. He goes to a public school. Now, when he was going to one of those Montessori schools last year, they had spelling tests all week. What is the difference? Why? And I asked this one teacher why they don't get homework anymore. She said that is the school system standard now, not to give kids homework. Why? Why are they not giving kids homework anymore? And this is what you're gonna get if they do, which I doubt it, and I hope not. If they do give the board, if they do dismantle the Board of Education or make it so small you don't even know it's there, and give the education back to the schools, and the parents have their say, it's gonna be so messed up because parents are gonna want. I know I want it done like this. No, I want it done like that. No, I want it done like this. And you know who's gonna lose? The children. Not all kids are the same. Not all kids learn the same. Not all teachers teach the same. And it's really bad when they say that now kids can't ask for birth control. They can't ask for, they can't get mental health counseling without their parents' permission. That is the dumbest thing you could do. These parents, they complaining, but all they care about is their kids. How do you grow up to be that selfish that all you care about is your feelings? That's why they try to take Africa's history out of schools because it makes their kids feel uncomfortable. When did that happen? That we're worried about you feeling uncomfortable. We are here to teach you about life because what happened in the past can happen in the future. And some things we do not want to repeat. We really need to really find out how these people was raised that's in these leadership roles because it makes a big difference. A big difference how these leaders were raised. And if we was to really dig deep, we would find out some heavy stuff. And we as parents need to get together and start raising up some warriors of change that can make a difference in this world and make it good for everyone. Because I believe that with better leadership, we could do good by our kids. They won't be destroying themselves like they are. You know, just like when I was growing up, kids, most of the boys learned boxing. And you didn't have all that shooting. They fought. They didn't mind getting their butts whooped. It was a badge of honor. Now, because here in America, you're going to have some disagreements and jealousy. It's a lot of jealousy in this country. And it's going to be even more jealousy because of social media. Because it's all learned behavior. A lot of this that these kids and young folks is doing, it's learned behavior. Hello, Christy. It's all learned by what they see on social media, at home, on TV, and in the family. Yeah. Hey, look at your bike. What is that? My bike. My... uh, and what I propose to do is I want to get people like my age, around my age, and start going out talking to young people because I hate to see them living a life of confusion and don't know their roots. A lot of these young ones don't even have grandparents. And grandparents is a vital entity in anybody's life. It is. Because parents are busy. They have a lot going on. They have to maintain a family life, they have to maintain a work life, they have to maintain their life, and they have to maintain all that surrounds that. And that's where grandparents come in to alleviate some of that, to give those babies some extra hugs and kisses and some listening ears and some good old fashioned advice and some wisdom. And I know how it is because I grew up with no, I didn't have grandparents. My grandparents were alive when I was young, but I didn't have any relationship with them because they was like 1,000 miles away. And my parents didn't encourage any closeness either. And now I have 13 grandkids and I only have a relationship with one because me and the parent don't get along. Why? I don't know. I just I I try not to think about it because it does hurt and I know that is their main goal is to hurt my feelings. Because somewhere I guess down the line I hurt their feelings. How do a the reason why I say that because my parents was the meanest parents I know. They didn't hurt my feelings. Okay? We was not close. Uh One time we went a whole year without speaking. But I called them. I never said anything bad about them. I didn't blame them for my low life. I didn't blame them for my faults. I'm a grown ass woman. I have to take I have to take responsibility for what I did and say and actions. But my kids, the next generation, the 80s, oh no, it's your fault. I'm like this. I remember when you did this. That's why I'm like this. And then I had a family that also encouraged them to be against me too. I had a sister that told my child, "You don't have to listen to her because she ain't living right. So you ain't got to listen to her." I was like, "She did?" maybe I wasn't living right. None of them was either. That's what make it so bad. None of them had room to talk about anybody. And I have kids that haven't talked to me in 2 years, 3 years. And then I had one daughter, I found out, told somebody that she was adopted. And the girl that she told it to was shocked. Like, she told me she was adopted. I don't know how you can hurt your mother like that. Because, see, I didn't hurt my mother's and father's feelings because I knew that they didn't want to talk to me. I knew they did not care for me because of the way they act when I come around. Uh, they never came to my house. They never said anything nice to my children. And I found out, I've been finding stuff out that they've been saying behind my back and been talking about. So I'm just going to mention a couple of things I found out. I was talking to my sister's daughter on Facebook, and she said, well, I don't know how to approach you because you slapped our granddaddy. I'm like, bitch. So I knew it. I said, are you crazy? Do you really think I slapped my daddy and I'm still living? Because I knew. Everybody knew that our daddy would shoot us. Because he done put a gun on me before. Okay? And a couple times. I'm like, okay, how in the world that came up? So I went back and asked my mother, have you heard something like this? And she said, well, yeah, your daddy came back and told us that you picked up a broom. So it went from a broom to being slapped, that I hit my daddy with a broom. I'm like, mama, you really think I hit my daddy with a broom? I picked up the broom and I told him, Daddy, don't hit me again. He didn't hit me. I'm like, so all this, you finding out that all this stuff is being said behind your back. Nobody's mentioning it. They just, you know how people, oh, yeah. And then the worst of the worst, when my same sister, her granddaughter, gonna get into it with me over on Facebook, because I said something about her mama, and she gonna tell me, well, you need to stop talking, or because I know what you did. I said, what did I do? I'm thinking, what the world did I do that she talking about? And then it came out all these years. Somebody had told them, and I got a pretty good idea who it was, that I molested my daughter. I'm like, I was so disturbed. That disturbed me for about 2 months. I could not believe that somebody would say something like that. And I believe, who could say something like that? And I'm thinking my oldest daughter. Because she have said worse things behind my back and to my face. She done lied on me. And they believe her lies. So I'm like, and I would tell people, I told my son, and I told my other sister, And all they said was, "No, I ain't heard nothing like that." That's all they said. So, and I haven't talked to my sister in about 4 years. Well, a couple of my sisters I haven't talked to in about 4 years. Well, I haven't talked to none of them really in a long time. And I had this one sister. Oh my God, her son had been sick, and he passed away. And she didn't even tell me, and she didn't even come to the funeral. And I called her up one day. I was a little tipsy. Because it was just wearing on my brain. It didn't even tell me. They came here because he lived where I live, and he was in hospice. And they went to see him, and they didn't even tell me. They wouldn't even tell me so I can go and say goodbye. None of them. My nieces, my nephews, and my sister, they all came up here. Not one called me. Not one said nothing to me. And then she didn't even come, the sister, his mother, didn't even come to the funeral. And I called her up and I said, "You a bitch." And you know what she said? The only thing she would say, "Oh, your kids don't even talk to you." Well, so that's why I don't like talking to them or talking about them because it's all sad. I would not want nobody to have a family like that. That's why if I could get a group of people my age, or don't even have to be my age, to want to try to help these young ones have a better family life. So we can have a better world. We should be in the business of making better people to make a better world. We have to evolve in something better. All we doing is making rich, spoiled brats that think the world is their playground. And you have a lot of people that's letting them do it. We have to save America. All right. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your comments. You all have a wonderful day. Yes, I'm sure.